Welcome to another virtual speaker series from the Penn State Alumni Association. It looks like people are jumping into the Zoom room right now. If you'd like to place your favorite destination into the chat window, I'd love to know where you all like to travel or where you hope to travel to. We're going to go ahead and give everybody just a few minutes to get logged in, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Looks like people are starting to join us. It's a beautiful day here in Happy Valley. Again, if you want to put in the chat window what your favorite destination is, where you've traveled recently, where you hope to travel soon, I'd love to hear from you. Looks like Don is signed up to go to Latvia. Oh, Greek Islands, I know. Don was supposed to go to Greek Islands last year, but had to pull from that. We'll hopefully get him there soon. So we'll go ahead and get started now. I want to welcome everybody to another quarterly travel spotlight. I am Kelly Morgante, Assistant Director of the Alumni Travel Program. As a reminder, this presentation is being recorded and all viewers are on mute. Live closed captions are available for this event, and you can access them by clicking the closed caption button at the bottom of the Zoom window and then clicking Show Subtitle. You may also customize your closed caption viewing by clicking the Stream Text link, which you can find in the chat window. We've received several questions for those who have pre-registered, and we'll answer as many as possible throughout the presentation. If you would like to submit any questions now, we invite you to do so via the Q&A button, which can be found at the bottom of the Zoom window. Following the live event, you can submit any questions via email to alumnitravel@psu.edu. This is the second in a series of 4 spotlights that we will be presenting in 2021. Each presentation will feature one of our trusted tour operators and a special guest host or past traveler that will share their experience. The Penn State Alumni Association has offered group travel for over 50 years. Each year we compile a varied collection of tours that visit destinations across the globe. Whether you enjoy navigating the waterways by ocean or river cruises, or traveling by motor coach, we offer 30+ opportunities each year that visit all 7 continents. Details on all of our upcoming tours are available at alumni.psu.edu/travel. Our tours are managed by some of the most trusted operators in affinity travel. Today, I am joined by Mark Miller, Senior Vice President of Sales for AHI Travel, and then later on by David Kavanaugh, 1976 landscape architecture grad, member of the Alumni Council, Penn State traveler, and a good friend. Can we get Mark on here? Hi, Mark. I know that AHI and Penn State have a long history of traveling together. Can you tell us a little bit about AHI and its history in working with alumni groups?
Sure. Well, first of all, Kelly and Sarah and the team there, I'd just like to say thank you for organizing this event. And to Paul Clifford and the Penn State Alumni Association for your continued partnership with AHI Travel. And then thank you, Dave. What a great picture of you there for traveling with us and for sharing your experiences on the Cuba trip. We'll get into that a little bit later, and it's a beautiful trip. And thank you all. I see so many people here on the participants part of my Zoom here for being here today and interest in traveling with Penn State. And I truly wish we were all together today. So let's do this next year in person. What do you say?
I agree. I'm all for that.
And so AHI we're celebrating 60 years next year and providing the best travel experience exclusively for alumni travelers. And Penn State was one of our very first partners back in 1962. You know, together we arranged this alumni tour to the Gator Bowl, and so that was great. And our first international trip was actually in 1968 to Europe. So as I always say, just pack your comfortable shoes and your curiosity, and we'll handle the rest.
Love that. Absolutely love that. Well, with the world reopening for tourists, let's go ahead and jump right in and talk about some of the upcoming destinations that Penn State and AHI are partnering with to offer in the coming months. Iceland, Florence, Cuba, and the Rhine River. We actually have 2 Rhine River opportunities. So Mark, let's go ahead and start with Iceland. They were one of the very first European countries to reopen for tourism, and we have a scheduled departure for August 23rd of this year.
Yeah, that's right, Kelly. And let me try to work my magic on these slides here. Hang on. Here we go. I think I've got it here. I'm so great at technology, right?
We all are. We're getting to be pros.
That's what my kids say. But first, before we get into Iceland, I just want to talk about health and safety, because that's what's on everyone's mind. You know, traveling internationally this year and next year is going to be different. So we're going to ask you to do your part. You know, wear a face covering, social distance, wash your hands frequently while on tour. And although AHI won't require you to be vaccinated, you know, most governments will require proof of vaccination, and possibly our suppliers, you know, like the airlines, hotels, or river cruise lines. So we'll follow these guidelines, and we'll make sure that the Penn Stater travelers are all very well aware in advance of all these protocols and requirements. Way in advance of the trip. Now, our travel directors have been specifically trained on measures in keeping you safe while on tour. And we'll have extra personal protective equipment, or PPE. We'll have hand sanitizer. They'll be very vigilant in making sure that the group maintains social distancing measures. And we'll also be working very closely with the hotels and restaurant staff. This is motor coach companies and drivers, the museums and wineries, all of our suppliers to create a safe and memorable journey. And if I can do my slides, I might have to have Sarah come do my slides. Sarah, if you want to advance slide.
Oh, the other way.
Okay, that's great. I think I've got it here. Thank you, Sarah. Well, let's see here. I'll ask you to advance my slides, Sarah. I'm having little issues here advancing. So, you know, what we've been doing over the last 15 months is working with our suppliers to ensure that you won't miss a thing while on tour. Great. So we want just everyone to do their part, you know, and follow the protocols, procedures recommended by our travel staff. Slide. And then for peace of mind, I just want to quickly mention that we're now offering the AHI Assurance. This is travel accident and sickness protection. This is purchased on behalf of every traveler and paid by AHI. Now, this plan provides medical coverage if you should become sick, and that's including COVID-19 during your trip. So it covers trip delay, accident, medical, and evacuation coverage. So please know that this coverage is not complete coverage or full coverage. It's so we recommend strongly that you have, in addition to this coverage that we provide, complimentary, you seek for your own additional coverage. Slide.
And Penn State will send information out to our travelers, offering them some optional insurance.
That's right. Penn State's got some great insurance options. So great. Iceland. We're so excited. It's open right now. Kelly, we can go right now.
It makes me so happy when I hear that somebody has, like, you know, set foot
And so
foreign land somewhere.
we're very excited that Iceland is open right at this very minute. Let's go to Iceland. This is the grandeur of Iceland. This is August 23rd to 31st this year, this August. This is a price of $39.95 plus airfare and value-added tax. It's a 9-day a program. It's a small group. So all of our groups are small groups, no more than 24 travelers. You unpack once. You spend 7 nights in central Reykjavik. That's what my kids call the happening place of Iceland. It's capital and nerve center and government seat. And it's interesting. It's home to half the island's population, and it's overlooked by this great Mount Esja. And so it's a beautiful city, very colorful town, concrete houses painted and really vibrant colors, bright red, blue, green roofs, incredible. And so for all you nature lovers, Iceland puts on one of the most dramatic natural spectacles on the planet. They have these beautiful waterfalls, as you can see in this image, snow-capped peaks, fjords, lush valleys, finger-like peninsulas reaching toward the Arctic Circle. Very, very, very beautiful. Now, when you're there in August, it's almost 24 hours of daylight. So Kelly, it's truly the city that never sleeps. It's just like New York, right? So this is so you can enjoy all these summertime activities, like whale watching, sea fishing. There is horseback riding, trips to many of the natural wonders nearby. I just want to show you a quick video.
Iceland enthralls, with inspiring raw beauty and legends that rise from the landscape. From the heart of trendy Reykjavik, follow the trail of the Vikings to shimmering tundras and villages steeped in nautical tales. From sweeping valleys to sprawling glaciers, majestic whales to radiant waterfalls. Witness nature's ineffable splendor and explore sites ingrained with history and heritage. Along the way, discover the kindness of the Icelandic people who are eager to share their traditions and culture. Pack your bags for an adventure that is both astounding and unforgettable. Throughout this incredible journey, you'll be in the care of a seasoned travel director who handles all logistics, allowing you to thoroughly enjoy your destination. And our expert guides and local speakers will make the region's unique history and culture come to life. As you explore with your small group, relish comfortable camaraderie and new friendships that create unforgettable memories. Plus, all of our trips feature free time, so you can strike off on your own and make new discoveries. It's time to dust off your dreams and explore. Call now to reserve your place on this one-of-a-kind adventure.
Thank you, Sarah. So here's the map. Iceland is a Nordic island country, North Atlantic, of course, population of about 357,000 souls in an area of about 40,000 square miles. And that makes it the most sparsely populated country in Europe. Reykjavik, of course, where we'll be, is surrounded in the surrounding areas in the southwest of the country are home to about 2/3 of the population. And of course, as we know from 2010, Iceland is still volcanically and geologically active. I don't know if you remember the 2010 ash cloud. Oh man, I got stuck in Egypt. I know, tough job there for that. So next slide. Sarah, thank you. Here's the hotel, beautiful hotel. This is the Radisson Blu 1919. It's a landmark building It sits in the heart of the historic sites of Reykjavik. A very nice hotel, very boutique-y look and feel. The hotel itself has been a historic icon since 1919, thus the name. And it's in the city center. So it's near restaurants, museums, and shopping. Next slide. And here's one of the rooms, 237 square feet, with choice of 2 twins or a queen, and complimentary Wi-Fi. I always do that to my kids. No, complimentary Wi-Fi, not Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi, throughout the hotel and in your room. Next slide. So we start the tour in this really cool Bay Area, the harbor area, and we check out the city's art scene. And then next slide, we do the Parliament building and Hot Spring Kikka Church. We do, next slide. And so near Reykjavik is Headless Shady. This is the Headless Shady geothermal plant. And it's the power plant, and it's situated, believe it or not, in an active volcanic area. Yikes. So it really produces both electricity and thermal energy for the people of Reykjavik. The city uses thermal water to heat many of the city streets and pavements, an environmentally, friendly method of preventing icy roads. We'll tour this facility and arrange a private lecture that provide insight into the country's remarkable green energy development. Next slide. Now, after the power plant visit, we visit this small village called Eiterbakki. Okay, and this is home to this cultural center named Bakkastofa. And we meet these really incredible, well-renowned musical artists. And what they've done is put together the saga music and storytelling of Iceland through this wonderful performance. I won't spoil anything, but it's absolutely a wonderful experience. Next slide. And then right after that, we'll have a chance to visit the Noristofa Museum. This is a museum dedicated to Snorri Sturluson. Now, Snorri was a writer, a poet, and he used the Nordic cultural heritage in his work. He died, I believe, in 1241, so you can imagine the time. But he was also a politician and an active participant in European cultural life. He participated there, and at the time, he was the richest man in Iceland. So we'll have a nice lecture of Snorri out there at the Cultural Center. Next slide. And of course, there's lots of hot springs. This is Deildartungur. I'm sorry, Deildartungur. Sorry, my Icelandic is not polished.
Not fluent.
So this is the largest hot springs in Europe. Next slide, and then we'll go on to the Golden Circle, which is part of the national park. This is Sturkur Geyser and Gullfoss waterfalls. The original picture I had up there. And next slide, and then we'll go to the Frio Haymar greenhouse, where we'll have this delicious lunch, incredible lunch out there at the greenhouse, and then get to meet some of my friends. Next slide, and this would be the Icelandic horses. My daughter loved this part of the tour. My older, not so much. So this is an incredible experience, and you on the greenhouse farm, you'll meet some horses. And of course, we'll spend the next full day of whale watching. So we'll be looking out for the humpback whales, the harbor porpoises, the white-beaked dolphins, in addition to the local birds. See the little puffins. If you've never seen one of those live, it's a pretty incredible sight. Next slide. And this is Snæfellsnes, and this is the peninsula. This is home of the magnificent glacier. Next slide. And the famed Black Pebble Beach. Next slide. And then we'll have an optional tour. This is a free day, which you have to do. It's an additional cost, but it's worth every penny. And this is, of course, the most best spa in the whole world. And this is the Iceland's most popular spa, the Blue Lagoon. And so, You guys, that's Iceland again, August 23rd to 31st. This year, $39.95. We've got quite a few people signed up. We've got 2 Penn Staters signed up on this date, along with 6 others from some other associations, and a lot of interest in Iceland. I think we get Iceland booking almost every day right now since it's
open. They can go there. Yeah,
Exactly.
we actually had the Penn Staters who are scheduled on that trip viewing with us today. Any updates you can give to them? You pretty much covered a lot, but I wasn't sure if you had any special updates that you could provide to them.
Yeah, so it's easy procedure. You have to take, if you're vaccinated, we recommend that you be vaccinated, have your card. What happens is you get on the plane, the airline would check to see your card. You don't have to be vaccinated. Let me just say that. You can, but you do have to have a negative test for COVID 72 hours in advance. And so, so you get on the plane, you get your vaccination card, then you land, then they test you, they test everybody, whether vaccinated or not. That's free of charge. And you show your passport, go through passport control, get over to the hotel in the morning. It takes about an hour to get over there. And then you wait. It's about a 5-6 hour wait. And by lunchtime, you'll get a email, a notice, a notification that you're good to go. And then there's no quarantine. You're free to go and have an excellent experience in Iceland. For those who are not vaccinated, then there is a 5-day quarantine period. So I would just say, get vaccinated if you want to go to Iceland. It's a really easy process. Coming back into the States, we will organize the day before the test. You have to show a negative COVID test before getting back, being allowed back into the U.S. And we've got those all arrangements. There is a fee for that. It's $55, but it's very well organized. We do the test. The next day, we show that you're negative. You get on the plane and you head back home.
And all that information is going to be provided to our travelers, through communications directly from AHI.
Yeah, that's right, Kelly. We just sent out what we call a go letter. I like that. It's been a while since we sent a go letter. Let's go. And all that information's in our go letter that we just sent a few Penn Staters just last week. So
great. Fantastic. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the European continent now and talk about Italy. The very first Italian city I ever visited was Florence, and this year AHI is offering an in-depth tour during what is considered the off-season. Why Florence and why in October?
Well, thank you for those questions, Kelly. I got my top 5 list. I looked at my journal when I saw those questions. I looked at my journal. I got my top 5 list. Well, let me just say this is a great. Never been to Florence. A great city. One of my favorite eating cities. And if you're with me, you're going to eat a lot if you're with me.
Absolutely.
And so this is what we call the serene season or the off-peak season. This is October 29th and November 6th this year. And it's a great value. It's $29.95 per person, plus airfare, plus value-added tax, a total of 9 days. Again, this is a small group experience, no more than 24 travelers, and there's 6 Penn Staters already signed up. How about that? And so we're ready. I'm ready to go. They're ready to go. And so this again is an unpack once. You spend 7 nights in Florence off peak. So why go off peak? Top 5, number 5. Enjoy having Florence to yourself. Next slide, Sarah. See the no crowds. And so you can wander more freely and less hurried around the famous tourist sites. You have more genuine interaction with locals at shops and restaurants in the off season, and you can enjoy more intimate exploration of the cities and towns, the other towns that we visit. Number 4, staff at hotels are more engaging, and so they're not as busy, so you can have more engaging and authentic and comfortable interaction with the hotel staff. Number 3, off-peak travelers enjoy immediate service at the shops and restaurants.
Love that.
Yeah, I love it. That's what I probably like the most. Number 2, in the off season, when the number of tourists is greatly reduced, the local population stands out. So you know who the locals are, and you're more likely to have a meaningful conversation. And just saying hi, bye, you can actually talk to some of the locals, and we'll help you facilitate that. And the number 1 reason, drum roll, please. you can expect to pay less overall.
There we go.
$29.95 off-season airfares, even in this environment, are still going to be cheaper, and so it's a great value. Next slide there, Sarah. Here's the map. You know, Florence is located in the Tuscany region of Italy and is the capital. These are all the places we'll visit while we're there. You can see San Gimignano and Siena, Galita del Valsa. Next slide. Here's the hotel. Here's the Villa Medici. And this is a deluxe Marriott hotel, by the way. It's a part of their unique autograph collection. This was renovated in 2017 and once a historic palazzo from the 19th century. Here are some of the pictures of the hotel. You can see the traditional architecture is preserved, and there's antiques dotted throughout the hotel. The hotel is just outside the main city center and a short walk from many of the sites and restaurants. Next slide. It's located in a quiet square. It has an interior garden, a green oasis inside. Guest rooms are modern, generously proportioned, full of amenities. Breakfast is served overlooking the garden. That's the breakfast room, as you can see right there. And the hotel has a beautiful lounge and restaurant and very yummy, let me just say yummy, Tuscan specialties that you could just set me up in that dining room pretty much most of the day. But of course, we have to go on tour. Next slide. And so the first stop, of course, is Florence. We do the Florence city tour. So many wonderful sites. This is the Duomo, of course, that's the Duomo, the Bell Tower, Ponte Vecchio, Piazza della Signoria. Just a beautiful town of Florence, and you'll have some free time as well. Next slide. Some of the other cities that we'll explore is San Gimignano with its 14 preserved medieval tower houses. We'll have lunch at a local, with this local chef, and he'll actually give us lessons on how to cook Tuscan style. So we'll ask you to participate in that, you know, if you got some good cooking skills. And then in Chianti, we'll have some wine tasting at the Castello di Monsanto, you know, the famous winery. And then, of course, we'll have educational lectures, next slide, from local experts. We'll enlighten you about the Italian art during the Renaissance. We'll visit the Accademia. This is where Michelangelo's David, you know, resides. Next slide. We'll also go to the Uffizi. Usually Uffizi is not included in a lot of tours, but we do include the Uffizi, and so you have to spend a lot of time there. And then next slide, we'll go to one of my favorite cities. That's Colline Valdelsa and Siena. This is one of the medieval old towns, you know, and just a wonderful, wonderful town. And in the upper left there image is the Siena, you know, of course, where they do the horse race, the race, which is kind of very, very cool. This is probably my favorite part of the tour, Colline Valdelsa and Siena. And then next slide, and forget your Starbucks. In fact, I think they just finally put the first Starbucks in Italy, and I believe they put it in Milan. That's a disgrace. Anyway, so we'll get into the coffee culture, the Italian coffee culture, and Cafe Gilli. And this is another stop that I like, Cafe Gilli, and we'll learn all about that. And then next slide, Sarah, and this will be the free day, you know, the Pitti Palace, the bubbly gardens. You can do shopping, explore on your own. We'll give you some suggestions, and you know, you'll have the best gelato place in the whole world actually is in Florence, and one of the best restaurants. You have to do the Mark Miller food tour. I'm so excited now. And so again, Florence, the serene season, great value, October 29th, November 6th. This is $29.95 plus airfare and value-added tax.
So one of our she's a past traveler, but one of our viewers today has asked what type of the tour guides you get when you're with the Florence group, and you use a different guide on different days. So some will be history focused, some will be food and wine focused. Is there any chance that they get an engineering tour of the Duomo?
That's a good question, Kelly. We can look into that, you know. So just to be very specific, we have a travel director that kind of oversees the entire group. They're very indigenous to Florence. And then we have our guides, and they are indigenous to each of these destinations, each of these places. That's a separate person. And then we have lectures, and that's, we have a lot of lectures based with art history, of course, because we're going to go to the Uffizi and some of the art galleries, of course. But there's lots of different faculty and lecturers in Florence. And if there is an interest of architecture or engineering, we could surely look into that and possibly arrange a nice lecture if that's what that's what people want to do.
Good to know. Good to know. Now, what is the group size for the Florence trip and also for the Iceland trip?
It's no more than 24 people. That's the maximum amount. Again, we have 6 already booked for the Florence tour. We have for the Iceland tour, we have a total of 8 right now, but only 2 Penn Staters. But that's filling up pretty quickly because the word is out that Iceland's open. So
now, is there a single supplement on either one of these tours?
There are single supplements on both tours. I don't have that right now, but there are single supplements. But let me just say this about a single supplement. For next year with AHI and Penn State, we have 9 tours that are single waiver programs. No single supplement for solo travelers on 9 of our wonderful partner 14 tours with Penn State. And
that's for 2022.
That's for 2022. And all our riverboat travel, including, I'll talk about the Rhine and holiday markets, those are no single supplement for solo travelers.
Okay, great, great. Mark, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, but actually one of our Penn Staters who had gone on the Cinque Terre trip, Italian Riviera up to Cinque Terre a couple years ago, and of course that trip starts in Florence. She was actually so moved that she literally packed up and moved to Florence. So I have kept in contact with her. She's been over there for about 2 years now. She loves it.
Yeah, I just have a question. Does she have an extra room for me? Does she have
for me? I've asked her for me, but then of course COVID came around, and so I said it's time for me to come visit.
What a great story! Yeah, thanks.
So she's a good lady. So so now let's move it a little bit closer to home, which is Cuba. Cuba, of course, as you mentioned before, had opened for tourism back in 2012, and then it closed again, but it has reopened. Can you explain to us how that works for U.S. citizens to be able to travel to Cuba?
Yeah, so we've always hold the license from OFAC, from the Department of Treasury. The license actually requirements changed, and we're one of the few that hold the support the Cuban people license. And so now because we're one of the few tour operators that hold that license, we're allowed to go into Cuba and allow Penn Staters to go into Cuba with no problem. We do all the paperwork for you to do that. So it's just like a regular tour. You have to fill out some paperwork for us that we submit, and then we go on. And just let me just say that we have to follow the strict rules of support the Cuban people license. That means there's very little shadow time for folks. So we just have to follow what the Cuban government asks us to do, which we do. And there's some free time, so it's not completely regimented, but we just have to do what they tell us to do and go to all the sites, that they tell us. And I think Dave has experienced some of this, and I'm so happy that he's here to share his experiences of Cuba. And let me just also say of health and safety, we're predicting, although Cuba's not open yet, like Europe's not open to Americans or U.S. tourists, we're expecting the same kind of protocols. Okay. Vaccinated folks people who are vaccinated will avoid any type of quarantine, and we probably will have to take a test. But this is a great, beautiful program, November 3rd to the 10th. That's $47.95 per person. There's no additional tax, and it does include air from Miami to Havana, back from Havana back to Miami. So the only thing you really need to do is get down to Miami, and then we'll basically take care of the rest.
And if they would want to spend a night prior in Miami, you can help them make those arrangements?
Yeah, absolutely. We can get them in, a night early, and we've got a hotel that we usually use for Miami for that reason.
Great. Well, that's fantastic. Yeah, Cuba has been on the bucket list destination for many people, and over the past 7 years, we've sent a number of groups over there. And let's bring in Dave Cavanaugh now, if we can get Dave to come online. Dave and his wife Ellen traveled to Cuba with AHI back in 2013. I think it was the second or third trip that we did with AHI to Cuba. So I'd love to hear about it. Hi, Dave.
Hi, Kelly. Nice to see you. And Mark, what a great job. I am particularly impressed with your pronunciation of Icelandic cities. I'm thinking I could get Snorri, but other than that, I saw all those names. I said the worst one I have to pronounce is Cienfuegos, which is, you can see on the map there, Cienfuegos, which was one of the towns we stopped in. And by the way, Mark, I think there is a Penn State likes to send us to hot zones besides being in an active volcano in Iceland. I went on a trip to Yellowstone National Park, which is in the middle of a cauldron of a volcano. So Penn State Alumni Association loves to put us in the hot seat.
We'd like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, keep you excited and active there, Dave. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. Well, I've got a lot of Icelandic friends, so that's where the pronunciation comes from. So I just want to just first say we've got 6 Penn Staters on this tour to Cuba. This is November 3rd already. And I just want a few quick things. The maximum group size on this tour is 12 people. You heard it right, 12 people. So the group is half full. The reason why is because we're following Support the Cuban People license, which says that we can't use a Cuban government-owned hotel. So we have to use a Swiss-owned hotel that, in the next slide, Sarah, that really is quite wonderful. It's this is the Arte Cali 2. It's a privately owned boutique hotel in the very nice and vibrant neighborhood of El Vedado. And so this is where we'll stay. 12 people, that's like the Miller family at brunch on Sunday. So it's a really great site. And Dave will review a few of the places. Cienfuegos and Trinidad, we unfortunately cannot go to. So we replaced it with Matanzas and Caimito. So there's 2 replacements of the Trinidad, and this is in the Havana area. But you'll still see a whole lot of things that Dave saw, and so I'll let you talk about Dave. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah, we're very fortunate. Dave is also not just a past traveler, but he's a great photographer. So he has agreed to sharing some of his photos with us.
Good. I'm looking for the controls here. So as soon as they pop up.
Technology is a wonderful thing.
Technology is an amazing thing, and they have them hidden in the bottom, and every once in a while they show up and then disappear. So maybe if you don't mind just advancing the slides, and I'll say go ahead with them. So if we could have the first slide, that would be awesome. Oh, there we go. Now I see the button. AHI was just totally amazing on this trip. They handled everything from the first time we, here we are going into Cuba as Americans. They're a little unnerving. We arrived in Miami. We were greeted at the Miami airport by the AHI people, and they were just totally outstanding, handling everything all the way through. Baggage, the hotels, the restaurants, the tour guides were phenomenal. Our guest host, Baylin, who is a teacher in the Penn State Berks campus, and she and her husband were our tour guides. They were doing a great job. And we started off in Cienfuegos, which is unfortunately not one of the towns that you're going to go in, but they were kind enough to treat us all to lunch with a little bit of Havana Club and a rum punch, which is a great way to start off your time in Havana. Let's see if we can, next slide, please. And here is the tour group. Now that's not our alma mater, that is the University of Havana in the background, but we thought it'd be great to get all of our members, which were all Penn Staters, standing in front of the alma mater. I'd like to point out, and I don't know, can you see my mouse move around on here? If not, in the second row, the second person in on the right-hand side is Randy Houston, who is
light blue shirt.
Light blue shirt, yes, the current president of the Penn State Alumni Association. One of the best things about touring with Penn State is the camaraderie among Penn Staters and the number of friends you make. We've been on 7 trips with the Penn State Alumni Association and have made friends, lifelong friends with every one of them. I see a few of them on. Deb Marin's on today. We made friends with her. John Black and Vita Kay. I see John's on here today, and we traveled with them. Randy Huey Houston, Ned and Inga Book, Deb Kerstetter, to name a few, are people we have kept in touch with. And that's one of the wonderful things about traveling with Penn State. Next slide, please. This is one of the hotels. We didn't stay in this hotel, but we had a lovely dinner in this hotel. I think the second night in Cienfuegos. What a beautiful estate. Next slide, please. This was our transportation through Trinidad. Oh, I'm sorry, Mark. That is actually not how we went around Trinidad. We actually were in a very nice motor coach, but I thought I'd throw that out and show that AHI was able to get us all about Cuba with 1 horsepower. And now that you only have 12 people, I think they'll fit a lot better in there than the 24 that we had on our
Won't
trip.
be a snug.
Yeah, a little snug. This was actually in the town of Trinidad. Next slide, please. Also in the town of Trinidad, we went into the cathedrals and had some tours of those, and the tour guides were just really outstanding. Just the lectures that they gave and the presentations were amazing. Next slide. Here's our host, Baylin, and she is demonstrating a cultural fact of Cuba, where they put an ear outside of somebody's house. And the thing is, you go up and you whisper all your secrets and gossips into that ear, so that when you go inside to greet the guest, you are completely clean of all gossip. So that was a neat little cultural thing to learn. Next slide. One of the hotels, this is my wife, Ellen, standing next to me, and you can see on the sign back here in this room of 614, on August 18th, 1960, Fidel Castro stayed here in this room. So we got to stay in the same room as Fidel did. Next slide, please. Upgraded our transportation when we got into Havana itself. We were able to see all the wonderful cars that they have down there. The neat thing about these cars is they can't get parts from the United States. So all the maintenance done on this is kind of like a MacGyverism, for those of you who remember the show MacGyver. They just make up things to help those cars run, and they love running them around the town. It's really very colorful, and we actually got a chance to go on a ride with all of our group broken up into different cars. So I'm not sure if AHI is able to do this again or not. If you can, it's really kind of a fun thing to do. Next slide, please. Mark found great coffee in Florence, but I found great coffee in basically the home of coffee in Cuba. This was on one of the main squares there. And as our tour guide took us around, and I said, I'm really dying for a good cup of Cuban coffee, say that 5 times fast. He took us by this place and he said, take a deep breath. And so I did. And I said, wow, that smells wonderful. What a great little coffee shop. And the guys were just sitting outside playing dominoes there. Next slide, please. And this was the square in Havana that coffee shop looked out upon, with a lot of activity going on. Next slide. Including this lovely young lady who was strolling along, and I just happened to grab my camera and said, I got to get a quick shot of this beautiful person. Next slide. Here's the fruit stand in Havana. Fun story about this one. When I first came across this gentleman who's in the middle with his hat down, he saw me, I had my camera up. He was quite miffed, waved me off, said, no picture, no picture. So okay. So I went around the corner, came back a couple minutes later, figured, well, I got a good telephoto lens. He won't know. So grabbed a good picture. Next slide. As a member of the Alumni Council, I always love to go after new members for the Alumni Association. So One of the things we did and stopped often at various art and dance and music repertoires. This was one in Havana, and I think we signed all of them up as members of the Alumni Association. So they were looking forward to, they did an outstanding dance job. We also heard a wonderful choral group when we were there. The arts are phenomenal in Cuba. Next slide, please. This is the Art and Cultural Institute, which I know you're going to tour when you're there. This was actually the former country club in Havana. When Fidel Castro took over, one thing he did was to get rid of all the American capitalistic things such as casinos and gambling halls and golf courses and country clubs. And what they did is they built this wonderful art institute. And you go through here and there are many, many artists in here that do phenomenal pieces of work. We actually purchased some there, and it's actually very easy to purchase art in Havana, in Cuba. Next slide, please. We went to a new town, or an agri-community, self-sustaining community, almost a farm-to-table type of place, west of Havana. And again, Mark tells me that the group is going to be going there. And while visiting that place, could I have the next slide, please? We were asked to plant a coffee tree, and any group that comes to this place gets to plant a coffee tree on the slope and gets to put a sign there. So you will hopefully see a much larger coffee tree with a Penn State sign on it when this group goes this time. Next slide, please. Did I like it? Well, yeah, we loved it. We had a great time down there. It was really, I highly recommend it. You'll be talking about it for years, and when you're with your travel with your friends and they say, "Oh, I've been to Cuba," they'll, "Wow, really? What's that like?" So you're gonna really enjoy Cuba.
I know that you and Ellen are both avid travelers and Penn Staters. What makes traveling with Penn State and our group tours different than doing that independently?
Well, first of all, excuse me, I got to get a quick drink here. Thank you. As you do too. Everything's handled. It's just phenomenal. You don't have to worry about a thing. It's all orchestrated, the hotels, the transportation, the people you meet, the camaraderie that you form, and the lectures. We learn so much when we're out on these vacations. So it's not just a vacation, it is an educational opportunity, and we really enjoy that.
Good.
We've been, like, I think 7 trips.
Mm-hmm.
We've done the
and we've got 2 more lined up for you, I think.
yeah, we're doing Oberammergau in the fall, and I think we're doing the national parks in the Oberammergau next year, and national parks in the fall.
This
But
fall.
Civil War battlefield tours were phenomenal, and just great opportunities.
So, well, great. Well, you know, it's always a pleasure talking with you. I so enjoy our conversations on screen and off. Please say hello to Ellen for me, and we're going to bring you back in a little bit to answer some questions too.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right. So Mark, couple quick questions on the Cuba. Dave brought up, you know, the cultural performances. Those are also included in this itinerary?
Yeah, that's right. So yeah, Kelly, so a couple things that Dave mentioned are included: the architectural lecture, the vintage convertible car ride, the Hebrew Center, Hemingway's Lookout Farm, the National Museum of Fine Art, and of course the art studio that Dave mentioned. David also mentioned the dance studio and had that beautiful picture of the studio. That's also included. And of course, we will experience the music of Cuba with the choral group. So we'll which will be different is Matanzas. We'll talk about the Afro-Cuban culture and history. we'll also go out to the organic farm in Camito. So it's very similar to what Dave experienced, and a lot of those
Great.
things that Dave just showed us on slides you'll experience while you're in Cuba. And of course, that transportation, I think we could fit 12 in that cart. I think we fit
12,
12.
yeah, maybe add another horse.
Yeah, maybe another 2 horsepower.
2
Yeah,
horsepower. There you go. There you go.
with the 2.
So, yeah. So then let's go on to our last destination for today, and that is the Rhine River. I know that AHI offers a couple different trips along the Rhine. Penn State is offering 2 in 2022. One is a family adventure in the summer, and then a holiday market much later in the year. Can we talk about those?
Yeah, absolutely, Kelly. So this is a cruise the Rhine and Moselle rivers. This is a family voyage. This is July 11th to the 19th next year, 2022. The starting price here is $34.95 per person, plus airfare and plus value-added tax. It's a total of 9 days. It's unpacked once. And guess what? You're going to get a big savings if you bring children. So
now, what ages are we talking when we talk?
So this is 7 to 16-year-olds. You get $1,000 per kid discount if you bring them. My kids are actually too old for this. Gosh darn it.
I do.
And so this is a kind of a labor of love for me. I helped create this family cruise a few years ago, and we just had a great time kind of creating it. And so it's a wonderful cruise. This is, all of our river cruises are no single supplement for solo travelers. So the point I really want to make here is that it's only doubles, 2 per room. So if you have, parents, if you have the 2 kids in another cabin, and you have grandma in a single cabin, it's still no single supplement for solo travel. So the 5 of them can really travel very inexpensively, and no supplement for grandma or grandpa or any single traveler that's going to be traveling along. So that's a great benefit. And as I said before, we have 9 trips with you next year that have what we call single waiver or no single supplement for solo travelers. So again, health and safety is really very, very important to us on these river ships. Believe it or not, Lufner, who we partner with, has operated these river cruises, not to U.S. tourists, but to German and French tourists last year, about 95 sailings with no incident of coronavirus. And so they're very, very safe. We don't fill up the ship. It's 160, 170 passenger ship. We fill with only 120, 110 travelers. So you have kind of a space to move around. We fully charter these ships. These are new river boats, brand new. The crew is pre-screened, really dramatically pre-screened. They have to test negative for the coronavirus before, and we're suggesting they all get vaccinated, which it seems like that's going very well with the ship's crew. Enhanced cleaning measures on board, crew and passenger temperature checks when you board, disembark.
And all of this, of course, will evolve as the vaccines become more prevalent, and yeah.
Again, we don't know what the rules are. I always call the coronavirus the uncertainty virus because we don't know what the rules are going to be next year. This is, of course, next year, but we'll see what they are. But right now, this is where we are, and we again think that vaccinated travelers or U.S. tourists will not be required to quarantine when going over, and all the health and safety protocols will put into measure. And now, of course, we have the AHI Travel Assurance Program, which provides medical and medical evacuation insurance.
And that'll be applied for the 2022 trips also.
Exactly. Okay, here's the map. Here's the map. We're going to cruise from Basel to Amsterdam. We're going to go through Switzerland, France, Germany, the Netherlands. Many of the, what's another great feature about these river cruises that we partner with you, Kelly, is the fact that you have all these excursion choices. So you just don't have to do what everyone else does. You can just do whatever you want. We give you 3 choices in each of these places, and you just do what you want to do. And the great thing about that, is that you
What-
could send the kids to one excursion over here and you could do the wine tasting over there.
And one of our travelers actually asked about biking along the river on these river cruises and stuff. And I know that we don't do a per se biking and cruising option where they actually like the ship moves the same time they do. But there are biking excursions available in most of these stops, right?
So there is a specific biking excursion that we do in Amsterdam, and that's kind of an all-day thing. That's set. And there might be opportunities in some of these other places that we can investigate to do some, biking. There'll be some free time, and yes, we're able to kind of hook you up with a possible bike and do some biking in some of these other places. But we do have a designated biking, the Waterland Tour in Amsterdam's all day. It's if you like, being exhausted at the end of the day, do that tour because that'll be going through the waterlands of the north part of Amsterdam. I did it myself, and my kids, I mean, they were just so far ahead of me. They said, "Come on, Dad, what's going on with you?" So yeah, we'll offer that as part of a specific excursion in Amsterdam.
Okay, great.
And Sarah, the next slide, please. And so here's the ship. This is the Amadeus Queen. It's launched in 2018. It's an award-winning ship already. It's part of the Amadeus Silver ships, but it offers a little bit even further innovation from the Silver 2, and the Silver 3. Those who've been on the Amadeus ships. Great spaciousness, and you could go to the next slide, Sarah. Spaciousness, general public areas are spacious cabins. There's these panoramic window fronts, which can automatically be lowered, luxurious bathrooms. On board highlights include an indoor pool. That's new. And so, and the roof can open up that pool in nice weather. And in the evenings, that whole area can be used for talks. And then we even show movies out there, show it. So it's very cool design that we have for this. Next slide, Sarah. And so it's a jam-packed itinerary, but we do have free time for you. Get into Zurich, we transfer to Basel, Strasbourg, we do Speyer, Mannheim, Heidelberg, Rudesheim, Rhine Gorge, Koblenz, Moselle River, Kokum, Cologne, Amsterdam. So next slide, please. So it's jam-packed. First stop, just some of the family highlights. We'll have youth directors on board. While the ship cruises between ports, we'll gather for some fun activities for the kids. They have what's called the Amadeus Club, which is like a private little club that holds, usually supposed to hold like cocktail parties. Well, we transform that into what we call the Kids Club. And so there'll be activities for the 7 to 16-year-olds. They get acquainted on the first day. They make friends. They can eat together in the dining room if they like. We make arrangements for that. So the kids get kind of connected over the course of the cruise. And the older kids, believe it or not, I'm very, very impressed with these older kids. Help out the little kids. It's incredible to see that. I would say the average age of the children, just average, is probably 12 years old. So if you're interested in bringing your family along, I would strongly suggest it. There's many activities. These youth directors are actual teachers and have done this. I think this will be their 4th year to do this. So they're very, very familiar with the ship and the activities and what to do. Again, like I said, there'll be excursions for the family, whole family. There'll be excursions just for the kids on some of these places. And then there'll be excursions just for the adults.
Well, and I noticed you have a lot of the food pictures. You know how to get to my heart, Mark. But one of the questions we ask is the food that's served on these river cruises, is it regional cuisine?
Yeah, absolutely. We try to just represent the places that we go. And we've got a wonderful chef on board, a wonderful French chef on board, who is just incredible with food. And we just try to represent, if we're in France, we try to do French, German, we'll do the pretzels and the mustard and the beer. And so that's what we try to do, is local cuisine in each of these ports. Strasbourg, of course, Strasbourg is an incredible food town. And we have, it's the Alsace region, and it's in Strasbourg. We have, a choice of the historic walking tour. The kids usually want to do the canal cruise with Coco the parrot. There's Coco the parrot on the canal cruise. And then we have the culinary tour with wine, and that's not for the kids. So you can kind of separate and do these tours with the youth directors, organizing the kids. And all these excursions are complimentary. You just need to tell us which one you want to do. And you want to do that in advance, but you can also do it on site if you change your mind. So, and then there's a complimentary shuttle between where the ship's docked in Germany to Strasbourg. So it's a really kind of cool ship to a town event with the complimentary shuttle and all the excursions that you do. Wonderful, wonderful day. Sarah, the next slide, please. And here's Speyer, Mannheim, Heidelberg, more choices for the kids. This is the museum we take them to, the kids excursion to the Technik Museum, cool exhibits like the Russian space shuttle and the German submarine or the jumbo jet. And so that's a great activity for the kids. We'll experience other things, some of the adults as a winery, or, and the family can go to the museum. If we've had lots of families just just stay together. And that's been a great thing, and we offer that as well. So however you want to, do your excursions is kind of perfect, for this tour and perfect for the family. Next slide, please, Sarah. And so, we'll go to Mannheim, we'll do the Heidelberg, Heidelberg's a wonderful city with the castles and the bridge and lots of walking and outdoors. And so some excursions, again, family, we'll do Philosopher's Walk, a lot of family activities together. Sarah, next slide. And then Rudesheim, this will be the museum. You do a winery visit or a museum. Again, family can do the museum all together, or they can split up, do the museum, and then the adults do the wine visit. And then we sail along, next slide, then we sail along the Rhine Gorge. This is kind of narrated as you're traveling through this beautiful area. You'll do the Rhine Gorge and this 40 plus castles, and we have this great narration of a local just telling you exactly where to see it, where to look, what the castle represents, and it's just very, very incredible experience. Next slide. And then Koblenz, we'll go into the Mosel River to Kokum, and we'll celebrate German. We'll have this beautiful, wonderful German lunch with the pretzels and the beer for adults. And so, we'll get into being German and the German food. So that's really a nice visit there. And then we have this, the Wrightsburg Castle. There's the Mosel and some of the pretzels there. And then we have the Wrightsburg Castle, which is incredible, spectacular. It's for the kids. You go up in this hill, and it's this old castle, and they have people in period costume, and it's a wonderful event for the family and for the kids. Next slide. There's Kokum, the Kokum through the Moselle. Next slide. And then Cologne, and this of course is the famous cathedral, and we'll take the kids to the Chocolate Museum. I don't want to go there. I do not want to go to the Chocolate Museum because I'll get stuck. And so this is a wonderful chocolate museum that the kids all love and the families love. So you can see we have all these different activities. And next slide, please, Sarah. And this is Amsterdam. So much to do in Amsterdam. My favorite museum probably in the world is the Reich Museum of the Dutch Masters. This is where you can do the bike ride here. There's the bike ride through the Waterland. And if I'm not at the Reich Museum, I'm going to do the food tour. And so Amsterdam, of course, we're overnight in Amsterdam, wonderful city, Amsterdam. Next slide, please, Sarah. And then so we have pre and post packages, extensions. If you want to extend your stay, it's a post in Amsterdam. We have a post extension. And then before you get on board ship, we have this one in Interlaken in Switzerland of 2 nights at the Victoria Jungfrau Grand Hotel and Spa. And so you can also elect to do these pre and post experiences.
And you offer pre and post extensions on most of your trips. Or you can at least assist with extending airfare if, say, people want to go over there and visit family or something like that.
Exactly. So, on the river cruises, on this one, on the holiday markets, we have defined pre and post extensions. And yes, we would handle everything. Again, we'd handle everything, the airfare,
Right.
deviation to the, to the transfers, all those kind of things we would help you with. And then on some tours, we say, well, if you want to spend an extra night, we have those prices for, I just want to spend an extra night here in Reykjavik. I like it so much. One more day at the Blue Lagoon. So
There you
we have
go.
those kind of prices where if you can spend one night, and then of course we'll help you with the air as well. So
Great.
that is, we try to do everything, one-stop shop, Kelly. Try to do
Love it.
try to take care of everything for the Penn Staters.
And then we go back to the Rhine in December, I think.
That's right. And this is the Holiday Markets Cruise. Next slide, Sarah. This is December 10th to the 18th. Very similar to the Family Rhine Cruise, but it's Basel to Dusseldorf. And this is on the Amadeus Silver 2. Those are all the wonderful places we'll go. As you can see on the map there. We'll celebrate the Kris Kringle markets. We'll explore, the old world markets, the medieval towns. We'll have all these excursion choices to personalize your journey, wine tasting, the culinary shows, all the things that I just mentioned for the family cruise. We'll have all on this cruise, and it's
Great.
just absolutely a wonderful, a wonderful experience there and holiday time. And then I just want to show a brief video.
Celebrate joyous old world traditions at holiday markets on a magical river cruise through Switzerland, France, and Germany. Aglow with twinkling lights and good cheer, these festive fairs are a delight for the senses. Brimming with cheery decorations, lively music, handcrafted ornaments, and the tantalizing aromas of seasonal treats. New adventures await daily. Plus, you may customize your cruise with a choice of included excursions in Breisach, Strasbourg, Rudolfsheim, and Dusseldorf. On your exclusively chartered first-class ship, unpack once and enjoy gracious service, gourmet cuisine, and comfortable cabins. As you explore, relish relaxed camaraderie and new friendships that create unforgettable memories. Throughout this incredible journey, you will be in the care of a seasoned travel director who handles all logistics, allowing you to thoroughly enjoy your destination. And our expert guides and local speakers will make the region's unique history and culture come to life. Plus, all of our trips feature free time, so you can strike off on your own and make new discoveries. It's time to dust off your dreams and explore. Call now to reserve your place on this one-of-a-kind adventure.
Well, it certainly sounds like the Rhine River has something for everybody and about any time of the year.
Yes, that's right. It's both of these are great opportunities to experience the Rhine, unpack once on these really luxurious ships. And I just want to just say thank you, Kelly, for having me today. And thank you, Dave. And I know we've got a few questions to answer. But,
we do. We're running a little over.
Yeah, you're inviting us.
We're running a little over, but I would like to invite Dave back. We do have some pre-submitted questions from some of our viewers that I want to hit on. We've talked about the single supplements or the no single supplements on a number of different trips. If you go to our website, which is alumni.psu.edu/travel, they are marked as you're browsing through them, and of course they're all spelled out whether there are single supplements or no single supplements or not. Robert was wondering what the likelihood of Great Britain opening for this summer is. Any insight for us, Mark?
Yes, so we anticipate that both Europe and Great Britain will be open in the summer. France made an announcement that they're going to kind of be open by June 9th, but that official announcement has not been made. So we're just waiting We anticipate that Great Britain, France, Spain, Italy will open up this summer. When, hopefully we're thinking maybe June, hopefully latest by July. And so once that announcement comes, they'll probably mirror what Iceland is doing. Again, not requiring vaccination, but if you're vaccinated, you won't have to quarantine.
No
so
quarantine.
That's what we're kind of anticipating. And I just wanted to just say about single pricing. I know we just had a question about single pricing. Iceland, if you want to go single, it's an additional supplement of $1,190. And then Florence is $995, the single supplement for those 2 tours.
Okay, great. That's great information. Gloria, who's a frequent traveler with Penn State, has asked about more of these like one city type trips, sort of like Florence. And she was wondering if Berlin by chance is on the agenda in the future.
Yeah, we like Berlin. We offered, I think, 1 year, a few years ago, as just a one-stop place, but we have it part of what we call our Imperial Journey Tour. So we combine it with other cities. We combine it with Poland, Germany, and Czech Republic. So right now, the trend right now, what people wanted to do is kind of explore these small cities with the big cities. And right now, what's happening is that we're just really kind of focusing on the small towns, kind of the undiscovered towns, like a Latvia, like an Apulia, and that seems to be of high interest right now. Colmar, and we've gotten away from the big cities, but I think we'll see what post-pandemic interest holds for us. But we could be going back to the big cities just because of interest, and we're getting a little bit of that.
Okay. We also had a question about a river cruise along the Dutch waterways next year. And of course, we're offering the Dutch waterways, especially next year, because it is featuring the Floriade on April 25. Can you spend just a minute talking about that?
Sure. It's every 10 years, except for in 2020. They have what's called the Floriade, and that's the horticultural big event. They move it around in the Netherlands in 2022, so they postponed it to 2022. This is in a really cool town called Almere. On day 6 of the cruise, you'll be going to spend the entire day at the Floriade. The theme of it is growing your garden. I think that's a perfect theme.
That is perfect.
Pandemic, and so they'll have all these kind of events. It's over this huge area. What is it? 33 hectares. Some huge place where, but you'll get to explore that as well as it doesn't exclude from Kavanaugh Garden as well. So that's also a part of the tour, but it's every 10 years. They're going to do a great job with this Floriade, and we're very excited to be offering it with you and partnering with you. And it's filling up fast, by the way. So if you're interested, please make your reservation. And again, this is no single supplement for solo travelers, no additional cost. You occupy a single person in a double cabin by yourself.
And I see that Sarah just put in our link to all of our trips with you all to be able to go on and view those in particular. Dan asked a question, and this actually, Dave, you can help with this one. He asked if we offer any trips to the United States. And I know that, Dave, you and Ellen have taken several of those.
Yeah, we did the national parks, the Southwest National Parks, which went to Bryce and Zion and the Grand Canyon, and we also did the other national park, which did Yellowstone, and the Badlands and Mount Rushmore. Both were really good, outstanding trips. Well led tours.
Great. Yeah, we try and offer several national parks trips a year, but we also do Mississippi River cruises. We do the Snake in Columbia every couple years. So we do offer domestic destinations for you to check out. And again, all of our tours are listed at alumni.psu.edu. /travel. And then that lists all the trips that we have coming up. We did have, James was asking about a cruise to the Baltic that we offered a couple years ago and whether we'd be offering it again. In general, we don't offer the exact same itinerary 2 years in a row, but we do repeat popular destinations every 2 to 3 years. So just keep your eyes out on that one. And of course, if there's any direct questions, you can email me at alumnitravel at psu.edu or alumni travel. No dashes, dots, spaces, or anything like that. It's just all run together. And is there anything, Mark, that you wanted to add about any of these trips?
Just that you guys run an excellent program, and we're so honored and proud to be working with you, Kelly. And these are just wonderful trips. As Dave has said, it's just so much camaraderie and fun. It always is a whole lot of fun traveling with the Penn State Alumni Association.
We are a good time.
So it's fantastic. So if you have you never done it, do it. Come.
That's very kind. Yes. Yeah, we are a good time. We usually pick up a few stray travelers along the way that just want to, we can talk them into wearing blue and white so easily. So that's great. So, well, it looks like we are running out of time. We did run a little bit over, so my apologies for that. But I want to thank both Dave and Mark for joining us today. I think the information you gave was great. I always enjoy spending time with you, and I echo Mark's feelings that, hopefully we can do this in person next year. And I think I speak with many of our travelers and viewers that we are ready to travel again. Just as soon as it's safe, the Penn State Alumni Association would love to help you make those plans. You can find information about all of our trips, once again, at alumni.psu.edu/travel. We also offer a number of virtual presentations. If you liked what you heard today, you might want to consider joining Paul Clifford for a coffee hour. Or one of our virtual speaker series. Our next travel spotlight is going to be on August 11th. And at that time, we're going to be joined by Orbridge destination specialists to talk about some of the upcoming destinations, such as the Galapagos Islands, US national parks, and Canada. A full listing of all virtual events can be found at alumni.psu.edu. And I hope I get to travel with you all again real soon. Have a great night.
Thank you, Dave.
Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys.